This date 17 years ago, one of the most notorious figures in the Middle East, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, was killed by two F-16 American fighter jets who targeted his house, killing six others. According to the Stanford Center for International Security and Cooperation, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, the founder of the Islamic State, was a Jordanian national. He was radicalized as a young man while in prison for drug possession and sexual assault. After he was released from prison, Zarqawi traveled to Afghanistan in the late 1980s with the full intention of joining the fight against Soviet occupation. After returning to Jordan in 1992, Zarqawi founded a militant group named Bayat al-Iman with his mentor, Sheikh Abu Muhammad al-Makdisi, also known as the most dangerous man in the Middle East. During the 1990s, Zarqawi adopted a Salafi ideology and was arrested upon following a police raid on his home. Zarqawi developed a following of radicalized criminals while in Jordanian prison and used sympathetic guards and visiting relatives to smuggle his messages out to be published on prominent Salafi websites. In 1999, al-Zarqawi was released and traveled to Afghanistan, this time to meet with al-Qaeda leader Osama Bin Laden. The two distrusted one another immediately, and key ideological disagreements became apparent. Al-Zarqawi preferred to target near enemies, such as Israel and the Jordanian government, whereas the al-Qaeda leadership focused on the far enemy, the United States. Al-Zarqawi also had a strong hatred for Shiites that bin Laden did not share. Despite these core ideological disagreements, bin Laden allegedly asked Zarqawi to join al-Qaeda. However, Zarqawi refused. After the rejection, bin Laden decided to provide Zarqawi with funding to set up a militant training camp in Herat, Afghanistan. By October 2001, Zarqawi had trained between 2,000 and 3,000 Salafi terrorists at the Herat camp. During this time, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi was also the founder of a group that was originally located as the Jama'at al-Tawhid wal-Jihad. He founded this group in 1999 based upon his prison experiences with al-Makdisi and other known pimps and drug dealers and murderers. Following the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks and the subsequent American invasion of Afghanistan, Western intelligence organizations began searching for al-Zarqawi. He and his followers spread throughout Iran, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq to evade U.S. intelligence while establishing new groups and building a network of foreign fighters. The U.S. State Department eventually classified all these groups under the name of the most prominent Zarqawi organization, the Jama'at al-Tawhid wal-Jihad, also sometimes referred to as Tawhid wal-Jihad. Basically, these were people that were loyal to Zarqawi in Jordanian prisons and to new recruits that were receiving his messages outside of it. Al-Qaeda leadership urged Muslims to move to Iraq to fight the American invaders. And as per following this order, Zarqawi became the default leader of the Islamist territories in Iraq and concentrated his network of foreign fighters in the Sunni triangle of Iraq. The Jama'at Tawhid al-Jihad and al-Zarqawi grew to be among the most prominent actors in the insurgency. Al-Zarqawi's group aimed to expel American and coalition forces and disrupt the government transition with its operations. Zarqawi's group quickly gained notoriety for its violent tactics and attacks on non-combatants, including aid workers and native Iraqis. His group carried out suicide bombings that killed civilians, while other insurgent groups used guerrilla tactics that targeted American and coalition forces. The groups routinely conducted attacks on Shia targets to incite sectarian conflict and complicate the occupation and government transition. The Jama'at wal-Jihad also drew international attention for its assassinations and the gruesome videos of beheadings that are released on the internet. In October 2004, Zarqawi formally joined al-Qaeda and renamed his organization Tanzim al-Qadat al-Jihad Bilal al-Rafiqain, also known as al-Qaeda in Iraq. Despite the official pledge of allegiance to Osama Bin Laden, Zarqawi and al-Qaeda leadership still differed on some key strategic and tactical issues. Disagreements between the two were notorious. However, al-Qaeda in Iraq's extreme tactics alienated potential supporters. Many Iraqis, including Sunnis, took issue with al-Qaeda in Iraq's use of suicide bombings and other violent attacks, such as assassinations. Additionally, Iraqis disapproved of the group's willingness to target Iraqis and popular Sunni leaders, its perceived foreign membership and leadership, and its international incitement of sectarian violence. The al-Qaeda in Iraq increasingly violent attacks prompted al-Qaeda leader Dr. Ayman al-Zawahiri, Bin Laden's second-in-command at the time, to send Zarqawi a letter urging him to foster better relations with Iraqi leaders. However, al-Zarqawi often ignored al-Qaeda's orders and continued to alienate potential supporters with his tactics. The bombing of a hotel in Amman, Jordan, that killed mostly civilians in November 2005 helped to illustrate al-Zarqawi's disregard for al-Qaeda strategy and guidance. Many Islamist groups also condemned al-Zarqawi's strategy of killing large numbers of Shiites and destroying Shia religious sites to incite sectarian violence. On February 22, 2006, the al-Qaeda in Iraq group bombed the Sharia shrine in Samarra, also known as the Golden Mosque. The attack prompted at least 27 retaliatory strikes by Shia insurgents against Sunni mosques in Baghdad alone, all of which occurred the same day as the Golden Mosque bombing. As a result of these strikes between the Shia and Sunni, escalated violence between the two in the country. Facing local backlash, the al-Qaeda in Iraq group joined an umbrella organization, the Majlis Shura al-Mujahideen, in an effort to prevent itself as more of an Iraqi group and demonstrate its willingness to cooperate with other organizations. The Majlis Shura al-Mujahideen was a collective of 6 jihadi groups in Iraq that sought to expel American and coalition forces from Iraq. The Majlis Shura al-Mujahideen, however, exercised little control over the actions of its constituent groups. The group was also a coordination body at most, a media front at worst, and had little to no control over what the al-Qaeda in Iraq did. The U.S. government put a $25 million reward for the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. And on June 7, 2006, Zarqawi, while attending a meeting in an isolated safehouse approximately 8 kilometers, 5 miles north of Baqubah, at 14:16 General Mountain Time, 2 U.S. Air Force F-16 jets identified the house, and the lead jet dropped 2 500-pound guided bombs. Also, a laser-guided GBU-12 and a GPS-guided GBU-38 on the building isolated near the area. 5 others were also reportedly dead. The Joint Task Force, Task Force 145, have been tracking al-Zarqawi for some time, and although there were some close calls, he had eluded them on many occasions. U.S. intelligence officials then received tips from Iraqi senior leaders from Zarqawi's network that he and some of the associates were in the Baqubah area. According to the book Task Force Black by Mark Urban, the intelligence was received from a senior Al Qaeda in Iraq leader, whom the author, Mark Bowden, dubbed Abu Hayat, who had been captured in Operation Larchwood. The safe house itself, was watched for over 6 weeks before al-Zarqawi was observed entering the building by operators from Task Force 145. Jordanian intelligence reportedly helped to identify his location, and the area was subsequently secured by Iraqi security forces, who were the first ground forces to arrive. On June 8, 2006, coalition forces confirmed that al-Zarqawi's body was identified by facial recognition, fingerprinting, known scars, and his tattoos.